Hi, it's Melanie, and I'm here because I had a recent experience in a hair salon that I wanted to warn everybody about. A little background: I had dreads for a long time, probably since 2008. And then I cut my dreads and I wanted to grow them back, but my hair was too short. This is a picture of how my hair looked before I got these braids in that I have right now. So it was pretty short and I had dyed it blonde, although there was probably more black in my hair before I got the braids than there is in this picture. So there was a lot of new growth. So it was probably about half an inch blonde and then half an inch black. So total my hair was about an inch long before I got these braids. And so I called up this hair salon called Locks of Excellence, and I spoke with a braider named Chris, and I told her that I wanted to get braids. Actually, I was kind of undecided. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to get braids or whether I wanted to just get really short dreads. But eventually I decided that I was going to just get braids and let my hair grow out, and maybe in a few months I would have the dreads started again. And so she told me to buy 5 bags of hair. She said I should buy Marley hair, which I did. This is the hair that I bought. It's kind of, you can see that it's kind of crinkly. It's not straight hair. It's crinkly hair. When I went to the hair salon, I said I wanted hair for braids, and this is what they told me to buy. So this is what the hair looks like when I took it there. It's crinkly and it's not straight. So anyway, I bought 5 bags of this, and I went to the salon, and I told Chris. She asked me how long I wanted my braids to be, and I said I wanted them to be shoulder length, which about right here. And I assumed that she knew that I meant that I wanted all of the braids to be shoulder length, not just the braids in the back. I wanted all the braids to be all the way to the shoulder. And as you can see, these front braids don't even reach back all the way to my shoulder, basically. All the braids are all different lengths. And so, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just continue with this saga. So I got there at 2 o'clock, which was the time of my appointment. I got in the chair around 2:15. Okay, she was working on someone else's hair. She said, she would start my hair, and then there's another girl helping her. She said that she would help this other girl finish the hair that she had started because the other girl had run out of hair. And so her mother had to bring some more hair. So the girl that was helping Chris, who was the stylist doing my braids, was going to do the other hair of this girl until her mother came back with more hair. And so she started doing my hair, and what she did, which I didn't think was, the way that I had seen it done before, because I hadn't gotten braids since about 1998. I had dreads since 1998, and I had cut dreads and then let them grow back and cut them, but I hadn't actually got my hair braided since 1998. And so I wasn't sure if they were still doing it the same way they did it back then, because back then she took the whole piece of hair, and what she would do at that time is that she would take the whole piece of hair and braid the hair into my head and then cut it. That's what the braider that I had before did. But this Chris person, what she did was she cut the hair, and then she cut the hair in little strips that were about this long, and then she put 2 of them together, so maybe they were about this long, and she put them in my hair, and none of the strips that she braided into my hair were long enough to come to my shoulder, except in the back, of course, because there's not much distance that they have to travel to be shoulder length in the back. But anyway, so she was doing my hair, and she was stopping and helping other people and starting their hair. And, this one young boy came in, and she put all these pins in his hair and put him under the dryer. And he had some kind of dreads. I don't know what he had, but anyway, she put him under the dryer. Then another person came in, and she started her hair with her helper. And all this stuff while she was doing my hair. So consequently, it took her 8.5 hours to do my hair. I didn't get out of there until about 11:30 that evening, and I had an appointment for 2 o'clock. So while she was, before she finished my hair, or as she was doing my hair, she was braiding not only the individual braids, but then when she got a big clump of hair braided, she would braid it together. So I never could see how long the hair was that she was braiding, because they were in these clumps of braids like this, and I couldn't see. So and I wasn't really doing any kind of quality control check while she was braiding it. So I just assumed that she knew what I wanted and she was doing what I wanted. And then, people were, by the end of the night, there was no one there but me and her in the shop. And she, finished my hair. And I should say that at the top of my hair, I don't know if you can tell, but at the very top of my hair, she put, I guess she got tired, but there are like four half partially French braided braids at the top of my hair that you can't really see. But like this one right here is partially a French braid, and so is this one. And I didn't even know that until my sister was putting a rinse in my hair, because as I said before, my hair was blonde, and I was going to dye it anyway when she finished my hair. When the braids were in, I was going to dye my hair because I didn't want to have like just these little little pops of blonde all over my hair where every braid was. So I was going to dye it. But when my sister was putting the rinse in, she was like, oh my God, she put French braids in your hair. And, when I saw her finished product before I left the salon, she gave me a mirror, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I had this frown on my face. You could see these lines in my eyebrows right here. And, I'm like, well, I can't even, I was looking at my hair and I'm like, I can't even put it in a ponytail. It's too short. And, Chris goes, yeah, it is. But she didn't say anything. She didn't say, oh, I'll fix it, or I'm sorry, or, basically what she did, I guess they don't burn the braids on the end. So she left the braids unfinished on the ends, which the next day I had to spend my Sunday finishing all of the ends of the braids, because not only did she cut them short, but she left them unfinished on the end. So even if I had cut the unfinished part, it would have been even shorter than it is now. So I spent the next day, all day, just finishing the ends of the braids. But anyway, what she did when she finished is she took all the little clumps, the clumps of braids that she had, done. Like this part was a big braid and this part was a big braid. Of smaller, consisting of a lot of smaller braids, and she took it apart and then she dipped it in hot water, and that was supposed to seal the ends, she said, because she didn't believe in burning the ends of the hair. I was like, fine, whatever. I was already dissatisfied. I didn't like it. And she's like, oh, all you have to do is go home and you just roll it up and it'll look fine. And I was upset, because I thought that it should look fine when I left the salon. I shouldn't have to do anything to it, because the whole point of me getting braids was that I wanted to have a no muss, no fuss hairdo and not have to do anything to it. And so, I came home, and, once I was in the car, I was driving home, and I called my sister and I said, I'm on my way home. And my sister said, well, how's your hair? Do you like it? And I said, no, I hate it. And she didn't believe it. She's like, you're kidding. And I'm like, no, I hate it. The braids are all uneven. They're not the length that I wanted. And my sister's like, don't worry, we can fix it, And I felt a little better driving home. And then once I got home, I came in the door and she looked at me and she was just like, oh no. And we were all, me, my sister, and my cousin were like, what the heck did they do? That's not $175 worth of any kind of hairstyle, because that's what I paid plus a tip. And so at that point, my sister's like, well, we can dye the blonde. That'll help a little bit, which I was going to do anyway. And then I said, well, what about, the ends? And I think that I need to finish the ends. And so then she said, okay. And then I spent Sunday doing that. And then she dyed it. So anyway, my cousin, my sister and my cousin, they, gave me the money as a birthday present to have this done. And they were not satisfied. They didn't feel like they had gotten their money's worth. And so my cousin called the salon and she spoke to Chris. And I have to say, she was not happy. She probably was not the most polite call that Chris had gotten that day. I'll just say that. And that's probably an understatement if you've ever met my cousin Debbie. But in any case, Chris said, have her come back in and I'll redo her hair. And, I was at work and my sister, texted me and told me this. And I was like, well, that's too good to be true. She's not going to do that. I would just be happy if she would redo the braids that are short and, are sticking out, and things like that. And they were insisting, no, she has to do the whole thing over again. This is the wrong hair. It's not going to look right and all this stuff. So I'm like, well, if she said she was going to do that, they told me she said she was going to do that. And so I said, okay, she said she's going to do that. So I'm just going to go back. And so I went back. It was 5 days later. I got my hair done on Saturday. I went back on a Wednesday. It was Wednesday afternoon. I went in there with my cousin and I spoke to the owner, Robin, who said, is this the way your hair looked when you left? Because I don't remember you. And I said, no, my hair was blonde. I had I had a little bit of blonde in my hair, at the top of the braids because it was blonde before she braided it. And so she said, oh, well, you've altered the hair. I don't know, what we can do because it's not like what it looked like when you left. And so I'm like, I altered the hair because it looked hideous the way it still looks now. Okay, imagine this hairstyle with blonde in it because this is exactly the way it looked when I left. And she's like, well, come back when Chris is in the salon and I'll talk to Chris and see, have her look at your hair and see if she says that it looks the way that the way it looked when she finished your hair. And so we leave, and then I'm getting gas, and I get a phone call, a voicemail from the owner asking me to come back. At that point, she said come back at 3:30, and at that time it was like 3:15 or something like that. So anyway, we went back to the salon. We got there around 4, and Chris was there, and she was sitting at the front desk, and she didn't say anything. She knew why I was there. She just went to the back, and then I sat down and, they were, acting very, very, not pleasant, not like, people, who, have you in their salon and they're happy to see you. She was not happy to see me, rightfully so, because I was not happy to be there. And so the owner, Robin, had me come back and sit in a chair. My cousin was with me and she sat in the waiting area. And so they had me come back and sit in a chair and she's looking at my hair, and then Chris comes over and Chris is looking, touching my hair and go, oh, well, you've cut it. You've done this and you've done that. And I said, I dyed it and I finished the unfinished braids that you didn't finish. That's all I did. And so the owner is, going, well, you've altered the hair and it's not like what she left you with. And, if you had taken a picture or if you had left the hair the way it was, we would be able to accommodate you or we would be able to redress your concerns. But because you've altered the hair, we can't help you. And I said, I only altered the hair because I have to go to work. I cannot go to work with the way that my hair was. Even as it is, I can't make it stay down. I have to have bobby pins and put it in a ponytail and do all kinds of crap to it that I wouldn't have had to do if she had done the job that I paid her to do. And so anyway, the owner went on and on about how, I had altered the hair and they can't help me and I don't have any pictures and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And so basically, the reason for this video is just a warning that if you choose, and I really hope you don't, but if you choose to go to Locks of Excellence, which they really need to change their names to Locks of Crappiness, if you choose to go there, just beware that they're going to try to weasel out of any kind of redress that they can give you if you're not satisfied. I think that it would have been the same if I had taken pictures, then they would have said, oh, well, these pictures were probably, were taken after you did something to it, or this is not the way, or why didn't you tell her that night that you had concerns, or any of this other crap. So I'm just warning you, Locks of Excellence in Southfield, Michigan, they are not about their customers' happiness or satisfaction. I gave this woman a tip, before I actually saw what she had done to my hair. But I will not be going back, and I advise anyone who is thinking of getting their hair braided or even dreaded, because dreads are the specialty at Locks of Excellence. I would not go there for that either. So just, heed this warning. Do you want to look like Coolio, or do you want to look like a normal person? That's it.